awareness means different things to all of us: patients, families, funders, doctors, people not touched. What's awareness to you? Think for a moment about some examples you've seen of awareness that stand out. We know that we've seen great examples on diseases like cancer, heart disease, not smoking. But the one that stands out to me is COVID. The reason is COVID to me follows a formula I call the AA formula. AA stands for awareness leading to action. Who in this room, who is not looking at this, that doesn't know the principles and the awareness of COVID? We all know to mask up. We all know to keep our distance, to avoid others that may be sick. What can we learn about that success that translates to what we do as groups, as patients? It tells me that speaking with one voice makes anything possible. And let me give you a personal story about awareness to me that touched me. And my doctor, my GP, had been in business for 30 plus years. He was retiring on year 34. And I sat down with him to talk before he left his practice. And he said to me, Bill, he says, in 34 years, you're one of two patients that I've known of out of the thousands I've treated that has pulmonary fibrosis. And he took a stethoscope and started a little prodding and prodding and listening. And he looks at me with a big smile on his face. He says, Bill, you're getting better. Well, I wasn't getting better because PF's not a disease that you get better from. But he'd never been trained to listen for the crackle in the lungs. He'd never been trained on what the disease is. And it wasn't his fault. It was the educational system he went through and the time he went through that didn't have that knowledge. So I asked myself, well, as a patient, what can I do to help doctors like him work with patients like me for not just the rare disease I live with, but for the rare disease others live with? And then I asked, how do we take action? What do we do as the patient community to raise that awareness in the medical system amongst ourselves and amongst others? It's like you have to look at it as kind of a small mountain. At the top of the mountain's awareness, but getting up there, you have to worry about awareness for us as patients, for our other communities that maybe not be working with us, but we touch, to the general population, and then, of course, the medical community, the media, all of those who may have a voice in raising awareness, as has happened with COVID. So what do patient organizations do? We all do different things alike. Similar. We advocate, we support members, we educate our groups, we organize, we lobby, we help find cures, and we help raise awareness. So to me and the PF Warriors, our goal is pretty simple. Our goal is to change lives and bring hope. We try to do that amongst us, amongst others, and of course amongst the broad general public. Because it comes back, I think, to full circle that if we're effective in raising awareness, we also have to be effective in raising action. And what action do you take in your organization when you raise awareness? And that's one thing that when you leave this meeting, remember, it's action following awareness. Without action, awareness is just talk. And part of the awareness we try to focus on is clinical trials. They can make a huge difference in our journey as patients and others. And it's a selfless way to, I think, engage and reach out and help others by helping ourselves with trials. It's an important facility. How do you build awareness? Well, excuse me. We're a small organization with a big footprint. We have right now about 2,200, 2,300 members in our organization, and that's a fairly significant one in size. And we reach out and do events on a regular basis and touch thousands and thousands of people. However, we're a small team. When I tell you that we're only two people, you'll kind of shake your head and say, wow, I think. But the two people are doing two different things. One person just worries about our presentations and meetings we do each month. Each month we do a minimum of 2 to 4 meetings that are normally in these times virtual meetings. We use products like Zoom and others to reach our audience. And we build up a following of roughly 60,000 followers on social media. And there's things we do that I'd like to share with you. And it's what I call the basic blocking and tackling of raising awareness and doing what we do. The first thing that I'm going to share with you what I do, because that's my responsibility is social media. It's what I do day in and day out, and it's probably my primary role in being the CEO of PF Warriors, and that's consistency. Be continuous. Every day, my day starts off with roughly an hour of serving the channels and the patients. It's a habit I've established over the last 6 years since we founded PF Warriors. And every day, I've developed some pretty fancy algorithms and Boolean search structures that I use on Google and other search engines to find every single article published about my disease, IPF, in the past 24 hours. And I scan that list, I look at it, I'll take a few articles to read. I might get a list of 40 or 50 articles. I'll find 2 or 3 that really have merit. I'll read them, I'll vet them, I'll prove them to myself, and then I post or share them. And the way I do that is using a process of segmentation. We segment our feeds or our postings to recognize that each audience we go to is different. There's similarities and overlap, but as an example, LinkedIn to us is for business contacts. Facebook is for families and caregivers and patients. Twitter turns out to be a great resource for research and leading edge concepts. So each one of our segments gets a different kind of a message or a different formatted message or some different emphasis on the messages that we share. The second thing we do is we use a lot of tools that are that are automated tools. Example, when we make a posting, I make it one time, and I use products that some are free and some are cost. The cost is not that significant. Things like a HubSpot or Buffer, or there's all kinds of aggregators that take your content and redistribute it. And we do that both on videos as well as text posting or announcements or articles or information, whatever we're doing. So we segment it, we redistribute it or repost it, and that's built up an audience that we reach daily and engage with daily. And I think engagement sometimes is the missing part. It's where we can actually interact with our community, plural. We can interact with those that aren't part of our community to try to bring them into it. We're constantly recruiting in our organization because, like many other organizations, we have what I call a churn. We know in our disease every week, every single week, there's 1,000 new diagnosed patients. Every week in our disease, we know that 800 die. Well, that reflects in itself in our organization. So we constantly are having our members leave for any number of reasons, including dying. We have new members that we have to bring in to build up our organization, and over time we've done that. If it wasn't for what I call the churn today, we'd probably be closer to 10,000 members than 2,200. But that's one step that we use that has brought us success. So other organizations are also a market we targeted. We try to work in collaboration. We talk to people in diseases like sarcoidosis or Sjögren's or the other diseases that have a component or a sub component of people in their disease space that lives with pulmonary fibrosis. And so we look at them as partner opportunities. You know, I'd like to think about another idea, which is us as organizations. And I think together we're stronger, we're smarter, we're better, and we all end up walking in the same shoes. They're different sizes and different shapes and different colors, but we're all on the same journey. And I think most of us, all of us, are more alike than unlike. And, I'd encourage you to look for the common opportunities in other communities. Speak with one voice together. Everything we do starts and ends with the voice of the patient. And I'd ask you here today, listening, to take that step to collaborate, become partners, look for opportunities with each other, build networks and build relationships, build awareness. And remember, taking awareness and action is one of the goals that we all have in whatever we do in life. And thank you for being here and listening.